Hey everybody, it's Eric, Muscle Cars with Eric, and I have got my buddy Greg here. But we're in a twofer. We had a chance to shoot his 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona earlier, and now we're shooting his 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner Superbird. And again, Greg, it's an honor and a privilege to be with you here today, man. You got to be the Mopar King, and one of the Mopar Kings out there. Tell us about this car. I mean, I've seen this car only once before, and how did you come about this car? Tell us all about it.
Well, I started collecting wing cars about 30 years ago, and I've had 7 Superbirds, but I always wanted white interior, B5 blue or Tor red, which I have at home, and then this 4-speed. It's a bench seat, but I found this car advertised, I believe, on Cars Online, and it was in Simcoe, Ontario, and struck up a conversation with the owner, and flew back to Detroit. A buddy of mine and I, Les and I, flew to Detroit, rented a car and drove up to Simcoe, Ontario, bought the car and drove it across the border, which is a piece of cake on a older car made in the United States. There's no duty, you just drive it across. Took about 10 minutes.
That's cool.
Left it at a buddy's place in Beverly Hills, just out of Detroit, and then flew home and then had the car hauler pick it up.
That's cool.
And the
So
car
how long ago was this that you got it?
About 7 or 8 years ago.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah.
Now, have you done anything to it since, or did you buy it in this condition?
It was a really nice car from about 17 feet.
Okay, I understand.
And I wanted to have some rust repair done. There was some rust in front of the left rear quarter. Really an odd place, but it spent some time up in Canada, in Ontario, Canada.
Right.
And so I had that looked at, and by the time we're done, we did the whole car.
Oh, no kidding.
So
now, was it a frame-off restoration or the whole car painted?
Well, they don't have a frame.
Oh, that's right. It's unibody type,
yeah,
isn't it?
It's unibody.
Yeah.
But, and no, I did not take it all apart. All the body was completely stripped down to bare metal and painted, but I didn't, take it all apart. Didn't put it on a rotisserie or anything like that, because I drive my cars.
Right.
If I put it on rotisserie and spent the extra money to do it perfectly, I'd be too scared to drive it.
Yeah, and you like to drive your cars that we
like to
talked
drive,
about.
yes.
Yeah. Now, this is the Plymouth Roadrunner Superbird. So tell us a little bit about the nose. I mean, it's very similar to the Daytona, isn't it? As far as the length is concerned?
Yes, pretty much same size. The Daytona was more aerodynamic. Daytona came out first. Superbird, or the Plymouth division, was not going to build a wing car. And then they saw how successful the Daytona was, so they quickly threw this together. That's why you see vinyl tops on all of these. They didn't have time to do the body work where they plugged the back window.
Oh.
So every Superbird has a vinyl top to cover up their shoddy body work.
No kidding. That's interesting.
So this car was built probably 5-6 months after the Daytona.
Wow.
So they threw this together rather quickly.
Now, doesn't the famous race car driver, the King, have something to do with this Plymouth Superbird coming to being?
Richard the King Petty, the ultimate king of NASCAR, left Plymouth and went to Pontiac. So this car was pretty much designed and built to bring him back to Plymouth. And that's why they, of course, his car was Petty Blue.
Right.
But he pretty much put the car on the map. It was Richard Petty that made this car famous.
That's pretty cool. Number 43, right?
Number 43.
Yeah. Let's take a walk around here. I mean, we mentioned something about the airflow and the intake on this being better, and look at the difference. This is much larger air intake for airflow to keep the engine cool. Now, you mentioned that the Daytona doesn't have a problem staying cool. Does this one here have any issues at all, ma'am, being cool?
This one does not. It runs really cool. I've had others that have had problems. We've had to put auxiliary electric fans on that run too hot, but this car and the Daytona we just did run perfectly in hot weather, so not an issue.
Wow, that's cool. So now let's look at this. Now, what color blue did you say this was?
This is B5 blue.
B5, like boy 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Like blue fire metallic. Superbird in 1970 built 7 different colors. There was a couple others that slipped in there, burnt orange and so forth, but basically of the 1935 cars, I believe there was only 7 main colors. And they had to build that number of cars because NASCAR required that they had to build 1 for every 2 dealerships they had for 1970 issue to make it legally based on NASCAR.
So now they changed that requirement from 1969. You said they had to have 500 cars.
Right. 500.
Now all of a sudden the France company, NASCAR of course, said now you have to have 2 cars per dealership. And so evidently they were almost 1,000 dealerships.
They had to build 1 car for every 2 dealerships.
1 car for every 2 dealerships. Okay,
and that's where they came up with a 1935.
Wow.
So they built that really for the purpose of getting petty back.
Right.
And these cars sat on car lots for years in some cases. They couldn't sell them.
Because of the gas crunch and all the other stuff.
And they were ugly back then. They weren't collectible.
Right.
You know, who wants to drive a car to the grocery store with the wing like that?
Wing like that, yeah.
And the nose with no bumper.
Right. And it's definitely not your mama's grocery getter. Key chime?
I can pull that key out.
Okay.
Quiet it down a little bit.
Does this have that legendary beep beep horn sound?
Yes, it does.
Does it really? We're gonna have to hear that in a minute. And again, that time-o tack. Is that what you call it? Tick-tock tack. That's what it was.
Yes. I believe Plymouth or Chrysler paid $50,000 to Warner Brothers to have the right for the Roadrunner bird. The 68 Roadrunner had a black and white bird, but to get the Looney Tunes bird in 69, they paid Warner Brothers $30,000, and that's why they have the purple Roadrunner and the Meet Me horn.
That's cool. So Chrysler paid off Looney Tunes for permission to use the likeness and the sound, right?
Yes, and that I think was a good investment. You want to hear the horn?
Yeah, let's hear the horn, man. That's cool. Now this interior is in really, really good condition. Was this part of your restoration process here, Greg?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Those are new seat covers, front and back, yes. To look like the originals.
And little likenesses of the Roadrunners, and then
Wiley goes with me wherever I drive.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy, man.
Real nice and quiet, doesn't talk back.
That's good. That's what you want to have in a Coyote, right?
Yes.
You don't want to have all that screeching. Now, what to do with these tires? I know on the Dodge, you had bias play. Is this the same kind of setup that you had with that? Or did they change them to radials back then?
They did have white letter in 70.
Okay.
Pretty sure they were bias ply. And of course, these would be at Goodrich radial TAs.
Right.
Just to make it more drivable.
Yeah.
And they're 15-inch as opposed to the car would have come with 14. 15 would have been an option or standard on a Hemi car.
Okay. Look at that. That's so cool. It's very, very iconic, isn't it?
Everybody wants to take a picture of the bird.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. And hear that legendary horn sound? This is really, really good. And I like your license.
Mopar 440.
Yeah, buddy.
440.
And that's what this has in, is a 440, right?
Yes. That was the standard engine where there's 2 options, the 6-barrel option or the Hemi.
So this vinyl top was part of the restoration, or was it the original vinyl top here?
It's replacement vinyl top.
Okay.
You can almost see where the original window was, where they plugged this and they let it over it.
Oh, okay.
Didn't even let it cure in some cases and just put the vinyl top on it. I've taken vinyl tops off before and the putty's still soft.
Wow.
And this is some of their work to just kind of cover up. You don't see that on the Dodge Charger Daytona.
No.
They did the body work correctly, but here they had to rush this together. So this is another piece of fiberglass that they put on here to make it fit.
So they rushed it together for two purposes, or just the one purpose? Fitting two purposes. The one purpose to get Petty back racing with them again. The second purpose was to make enough vehicles quickly so it's legal to race.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. These were pretty much all built November, December of 1969. How
many total Superbirds were built? Do you remember?
I believe it was around 1935.
For the full run.
Yes.
That's it. Okay.
Yes.
And they were built only in titled in 1970?
Right. Correct.
Okay. Okay.
One time only.
No pun intended, but it's a rare bird. Bada zing, bada boom.
It is a rare bird. Yes, meep. It's
rare. I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So now we're going to take a look at the engine of this bad devil. Stick around for more. Beep, beep.
Let's hit the road.
Let's go. Drive it like you stole it, right? Now, we're cruising in, and you can tell from the beep beep, and sorry about the camera angle and stuff, but we're cruising in the 1970 Plymouth Superbird, and they only manufactured for 1 year, and this cool cat here has one of the cars that were manufactured.
Quiet.
Yeah, it is very quiet. It's a nice engine. It sounds powerful, but it's not overwhelmingly loud, you know?
It's the original engine, matching numbers, but it's all stock. They rated it back in 1970 at 375 horse.
Wow.
Which I know that's underrated, but it's still not that powerful. It's okay, but it's not like an ultimate race car.
Right. Now this got the 440. The 426 Hemi's a little bit more juice than, isn't it? Okay.
Oh yeah, that's the Elephant engine. It's rated at 425 horse, but I'm sure it's much more.
Wow. Why did they call it the Elephant engine? Because it was so big?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Those Hemi heads.
Yeah.
It's a wide engine. Be good if I was in first gear.
There you go. That helps.
For 5 minutes, I'm still in neutral.
Right? That's cool.